Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Talkin Kop. I'm Gav, Ashley, Kev, and Matt are with me. We're back. The international break is nearly over. I think there might be some games tomorrow. There may be some on Wednesday, and those South Americans could be playing on Thursday into Friday night, Friday morning for all we know, because that's what they do. That's their game. But it's nearly over. We're back into Liverpool. We've taken. It's nearly a week's break. We've thrown in one or two shows here or there, but we have taken a little break, and that's fair enough. Tonight, we're going to look at Liverpool in the season so far, how they've got through the last block of really tough fixtures, and another tough block of fixtures coming as well, and what the expectations or what Liverpool can achieve in the season 24-25. Any of you eagle-eyed people out there would have realised I had the title of this as 23-24, and I also had the artwork as 23-24, and people thought we were getting into a fucking episode of Quantum Leap, but no, it was just me being silly, and I changed it all. So there you go. Kev, I'm going to come to you first, and I'm going to ask you all the same question, but I'll start with you. So far this season, Liverpool, progressed in the League Cup, really nice position in the Champions League, top of the Premier League by 5 points after 11 games. Like, Kev, we couldn't have asked it to go any better than this, let's be fair, because what we had was a manager coming in who's highly rated. It's a really good squad, but it's for me, it's a completely different way of playing football, and it couldn't have went any better than it has up to now.
No, we're miles ahead of where any of us ever dreamt we would be. I mean, but the way the season is panning out, it's panning out a lot different to how we all thought it would do. I mean, look, Man City are Man City. They're always going to be thereabouts, but they look like they're struggling at the minute. Arsenal, I had them down at the start of the season. I thought they'd win the league this year.
So did I.
They look like they're nowhere near it. The last 2 years look like they've caught up with them. Chelsea are a bit of a surprise package. They look like a very difficult side to beat. But we're way ahead of anything that I thought we'd be doing. But saying that, last season we finished on 80-odd points. And,
82.
League Cup, won a League Cup. And I think quarterfinals in the Europa League, something like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't a disastrous season. It was an really heavily emotionally charged season and draining. A lot of us, I think, at the end of last season were just deep breath. Thank God it's done. It was an emotional roller coaster, and I went into the season and I didn't have any expectations of anything. It was consolidate, get top four, lock off top four, have a run in Europe. You're back in the Champions League. See what the new format's like. You're going to have big games. They're all good, tough, good opponents. There's something on all of them. For the first time in years, I didn't give a shit about the League Cup, and normally it's the one I care about the most. And the FA Cup is the FA Cup. I don't get interested until you might get to a semi-final, and then the interest perks up because there's a chance of winning it. Up until then, it's just a journey. It's all about the league, but we're miles away ahead of where I thought we'd be. And I still think, everything's possible. Everything at this moment in time is possible, but we haven't been punched in the nose yet. We haven't gone through a bad run, and we don't know how the squad and Arne Slot will react to a bad run. How will he address it tactically? Will he change? Will he tweak? We don't know. We have to cross that bridge when we come to it, and we will come to it. 100% throughout this season. Nobody's going to go on a fairy tale run from now until May. It's just not on. It's not going to happen. So it's all about now how we handle the stumbling blocks that are going to come in our path over the next 2-3 months.
Yeah.
But as we stand right now today, you're dead right. Couldn't be any better. Couldn't be any happier.
Actually, Kev says they're miles ahead of where most, if not all, of the people that are involved in supporting Liverpool thought we would be. I think a lot of that's down to how Liverpool are playing. I think some of that's down to how others are playing as well. If others played to their potential, we're probably not 5 points clear of second and 9 points clear of third. It's probably a bit tighter than that. But going into the season, like I said, we had a new manager, we had a new way of playing. We added one player in Chiesa that's seen probably 50 minutes of football with Liverpool, somewhere around that, a little bit more maybe, and is doing a pre-season, and we'll be back apparently after this international break. But up to now, actually, like, all you can do is cautiously say, Jesus, this is really, really, really good.
I mean, it's definitely exceeded expectations. I think, the buzzword over the summer was transition season. And I think as fans, it makes sense that we were sort of bracing ourselves for something a little bit lackluster, something that was a little bit, it was like Kev said, it was really emotionally draining when Klopp left. I felt like I was preparing myself for the worst, just sort of as like a cautionary, like, self-protection thing. So to see them be able to just pick up the mantle, continue running with it, and it's almost like we talked a lot about Klopp 2.0, and I feel like Slot has just taken that and run with it. Like, there hasn't been any speed bump in the road. It's just, we've seen the bedding in of the new players last season, and we've seen what a whole season or a whole preseason has done for a couple players, like Gravenberch, for example. And all of a sudden, we're seeing these fruits of the labors come to fruition. And I was really worried that we weren't going to get to see that. I was worried that Klopp leaving, I was like, you just started this new project. And to see Slot take that over so seamlessly has been just, it's a little bit mind-blowing. And I think a lot of credit goes to the club for creating a framework for Slot to succeed, because I think it's not just Slot alone. I think it's, we have a whole new fitness team. We have a whole new, coach development team behind the scenes. I mean, I don't know what all the technical terms for all of their names are, but it's new faces across the board, and all of them are succeeding. And it's just, it's a wonderful thing to behold.
It really is. Like, I've kind of gone in early this season going, listen, just enjoy. I think there's goals there, which we'll talk about later, as to what Liverpool should look to achieve in this season. Probably goals have changed a little bit since the start of the season to now. Unless you're Matt, who just thinks we're winning everything. He's winning Red Bull flug tags. He's winning, Liverpool are winning everything. Bowls, lawn bowls, snooker. Liverpool are winning the whole lot. But Matt, you're so optimistic. I'm a bit like you. Like, let's be honest, I go into every season thinking Liverpool can win everything. Why not? That's what you're in it for. But like, when you look back at the summer and you look at the lack of business Liverpool done, the squad we had, others improving. We knew others were going to improve and come at us. Chelsea, we thought, if they get it right and stuff like that. We knew Man City would be there, Arsenal would be there and stuff like that. But when we go for the first 3 months of this season, Liverpool are learning on the job, but they're learning really well. And while they're learning, they're protecting what they have at the same time. Like, I just think it's been astonishing what he's done. Because if we look at, Amarim's coming at United, and all it's about is it'll take years to sort them out. And that's fair, because they've dropped so far. But everyone thought Slot's going to come in. That squad can't go at that pace that they've always gone at. There was so many little things thrown in there for people to dampen down Liverpool's expectations, or maybe their position in the league. But so far, they look like they're good, man. Really good. And they look like they've got gears to go as well.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of stepping up, we can get onto that as we talk about what the changing goalposts are for the season.
Yeah.
But there's a comment there from Faster Tortoise that just came in that is exactly what I was thinking, going off of what Kev, Ashley, and yourself have been saying about it. It says, too much emphasis on managers. They're just one piece of the puzzle. The structure that is in place is far more important. And I think that's something that needs to be called out and given the credit that it deserves. And that is the structure upon which Liverpool Football Club is built. And you have to give credit to FSG and the ownership group, because you see clubs like Manchester United, you see clubs that have, fickle kind of, lunatics at the helm, like, Levy at Spurs and things like that, Todd Bowley at Chelsea. And when one thing changes, the whole thing needs to change. And the fact that the 9 years of Jurgen Klopp and the work that was done, the fact that everybody was singing from the same hymn sheet, that when Klopp came on board, he came on board because he agreed with the vision that the owners had, that the management structure behind the scenes all had, and they changed everything around the club through the age groups, through their scouting, that this is the way that we want to play football, and this is how we're going to offer contracts. This is how we're going to sign players. No dickhead policy runs right through the entire team. All of that stayed in place, even though you lose a talisman like Jurgen Klopp. And it's, when we think back on, because it was funny when you said you put 23-24 up, and it was like, oh shit, Gav, I got some bad news about Jurgen Klopp. Like, because we're getting on that 1 year anniversary.
It's like I was in some sort of coma,
Oh, that was a
or
very,
was your man
very
from Dallas
bad
that turned up fucking alive years later?
Yeah, that he announced that he was leaving. But to lose a figure like that, and to have the continuity that we've seen, and we all did shows kind of speculating about who the next manager would be, and everybody wanted Xabi Alonso and whatnot, and then they settle on Arne Slot. And one of the things that comes out of the wash of it is that it was the best manager that required the least amount of upheaval at the club. And that is the fruit that's being borne out right now, is the fact that we didn't need to go out and sign 3, 4, 5, 6 players. He didn't need to go to Feyenoord and just clear out, collect all of his old toys like an Eric Ten Hag would, or like a lot of people are expecting that Ruben Amorim is going to do. Because he came in knowing the pieces are there for how I want to play. And it's just some subtle tactical changes and things like that. So I had no clue that it could go this good. Obviously, I think we're going to take 114 points every year because I look at every single game we're going to play, and I can't possibly imagine how we could lose. So if you can't ever lose, you can't ever draw, 338, 114 makes perfect sense. We're winning everything every year, but it's not how it works out, obviously. But join me in my delusion, and as we have good seasons, more and more people just come over to where I've been since July and August. And it's beautiful over here in happy, deluded optimism land, because we are a damn good football team, and the quality of the football that we're playing and the quality of the manager that we have continues to surprise me, but it shouldn't, because the structure was there. Like, it is built off of reinforced concrete. It is not built on sand.
100%. Jono says, Mo Salah saying he hates that we've been seen as underdogs. I love that comment, says Jono. Liverpool Football Club are never underdogs. We aren't Brighton, Villa, Spurs or Newcastle, clubs who win nothing. I fully agree with you, and I really like the Mo Salah thing, because he's just an out winner. He wants the absolute best, and the more players you have like that, the culture it sets around the football club, and I don't think underdog is the right word for Liverpool when it comes to this league. For me, it's you have to look at the top tier in this league, and you think to yourself, Liverpool have been there and thereabouts for the last 6 seasons, thrown in 1 or 2 wobblers. Most people have, bar Man City. But you have Man City there that you know what they are, right? I'm not going into them, but you know what they are. I think you have Arsenal that are 5 years into Arteta, but over the last 2 years had really started to look like they were really solid at the back, good going forward, made some good additions. And there is a case of where you are in your evolution of a squad, or it could be a reign of a manager, or a football club itself, if there's change around the football club. And there was change around the football club apart from Jurgen Klopp. So it's not an underdog tag. I think it's more of a, you look at these 3, 4, 5 teams are really good, but they have a new manager, they have a new style, this guy's moved on, that guy's moved on. And that's where Liverpool kind of fell down the pecking order a little bit from the start of the season, because let's be honest, Liverpool's wheels fell off mid-April last year, and they finished 9 points off the top of the division, which is not a huge amount over 38 games, especially when you consider how bad they were for the last 6-7 weeks of the season. So, I think Liverpool expected to be up there, but with the changes, you kind of go, if you stand still in your points total, it's not too bad. The sort of way, considering what's gone on, and I don't like the underdog tag. I agree with you, John. Liverpool are never an underdog, in my opinion, in any game of football. I don't care who they're playing. But I want to go back to the last block of games, right? Because, and Matt, I'll stick with you, and I'll go back around the other way. The last block of games, when this season started, and look, you have all the media, and we had a bit of crack over it and stuff like that. They haven't played anyone. They had a great squad. The manager will be found out. Now the actual manager's good. Then it was a great squad. Then it was they haven't played anyone. Then they hadn't played anyone away. Then someone had 2 injuries, and of course that wasn't their fault. We got all this shit, right, that goes on. And my whole thinking on it is, if you want to win a league title, you have to deal with injuries. You have to deal with suspensions. And whoever deals with injury, suspensions, and drop of form and mix players around the right way will win the division. Yeah. So, but this last block of games, I think it was 7 games, people thought this will show Liverpool where they are. And, they go away to Leipzig, they go away to Arsenal, they play Chelsea in that. They have Leverkusen, they've difficult game against Brighton. There's plenty of games there, 7 games. Matt, forget what everybody else was saying. I think in this 7 games, how we approached them, how we won them, how we dealt with some adversity in some of them, this is why I keep going back to a learning curve. It feels like we're learning game on game. We're learning in game. But instead of us learning going, look, we lost that game because we haven't quite got that right. We haven't got these things quite right, but we're still winning games. We seem to have a really solid foundation that when little things go wrong, we can adjust to it and go from there. I think it was really impressive. Just them 7, I thought was really impressive. 6 wins and a draw, I think.
Yeah, I think the trip to Arsenal, it's, in theory, it's your second or third toughest game of the league schedule going away to the Emirates pretty much in any season that you're going to play. So to come away with the draw is fine. I was a little underwhelmed with the performance in that match. But besides that, the way that we set up against Chelsea, I loved it. The fact that we just kind of went, you can have the ball. We're going to take Cole Palmer out of the game because we don't think you can beat us. And he was proven right by it. And then, like you said, not just taking your lumps and, getting beat or having a draw and going, okay, we're going to learn our lessons from that. It feels like that is Nottingham Forest. That's Notts Forest. That's the blip for Arne Slot. And now he just does his changes at halftime if he needs to. And the changes that you see, like the league game against Brighton, where we just absolutely turn it on and tear them to pieces in the second half. And then the performance against Leverkusen, I think, is the real signpost. Not just the results of 6 wins and a draw out of that block of 7 games where there's not really an easy one in there. To host Leverkusen with the record that they've had, the squad that they have, the coach that they had, the coach that's even more highly thought of than ours, and we fucking dismantled them. We put them to the sword, and we were absolutely electric and dynamite. We're making changes to the squad from game to game, and we're not seeming to miss a beat. That was even more so than the 6 wins and a draw we got out of that. It was the versatility in how we approach games, within games, changes to the squad. It doesn't seem to matter who gets in, who doesn't. Curtis Jones can come in and play absolutely fantastically. I'm expecting at some point that Dominic Szoboszlai is going to have a great stretch of games. Alexis McAllister was a little off form. I didn't think he had the best stretch of games in that last run of 7 there, but he is an unbelievably talented footballer, and you can expect that he's going to pick it back up. I don't think Gravenberch had as good a games in that block of 7 as he did in the first, whatever that block would have been, 12 or something like that, however many games we played, where he was consistently man of the match. But we just keep going along, and we're finding different ways to beat different types of teams. And just, the Swiss Army knife ability that Arne Slot's brought to this team, where it doesn't just have to be pedal to the metal, full throttle, heavy metal football all the time, that we can approach different teams in different ways. And then when we need to, just bang, bang. The goals can still come quick because we have the quality in our squad that when you need 2 quick goals, bang, bang, they go in just like that. And then all of a sudden the game's gone.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Actually, Jono says here, seeing rivals or pundits poke holes in their performances, it's like they've forgotten that our manager has been here 5 months and not 5 years. We're top and we're still learning his system. I think that's a standout thing for me. I think a lot of the media and pundits, and I use that term very loosely, I always do, when it comes to it, they don't seem to be watching what's going on. I think they have a perception in their head at the start of the season, or when Klopp announces he's leaving, or when Klopp leaves at the end of the season, or when the season starts, or when Slot comes in, whatever it might be, they get a perception in their head of, this is how I think it's going to go. And if it goes any differently, I'm going to just make stuff up as we go along. And as John says, they're poking holes in their performances. Should the variety of performance not be impressing not only Liverpool fans but pundits and people in the media? Instead of going, this will never last. And I suppose that's just a natural human thing. I'll never last, They like to beat people down. But like Matt says there, the versatility in how we're playing has to be something where you go, fair play to them. They're not coming out and going, we're just going to go hell for leather at you, or we're going to sit back and be a completely counter-attacking side and see how we get on. We're picking and choosing our moments to play the games in different ways, and should that not be applauded? And even, don't get me wrong, if it was someone else doing it, you'd go, geez, they're really good at doing all the different things. Liverpool this early on look good at doing all the different things.
Yeah, I mean, I think as any sort of media people, it's very easy to get caught up in a narrative at the beginning of a season, and then to almost have that thrown out the door within the first 3 months, I think it can be a little bit unsettling, where I think they probably went out this season with every intention of having a Man City Arsenal head to head. I think they had all of their stories written. I think they were ready to talk about Liverpool falling off a cliff when Klopp left. I think like all the little story bites were there for them. And to have that thrown out in the first 3 months and literally just flip the script on its head, I think that it's going to take time. And I have seen a little bit of a shift where all of a sudden Liverpool are suddenly title challengers, and suddenly, it's about the team that Slot inherited and how wonderful the squad was and how he didn't really need to do much. And, anyways, the media narrative will catch up. I think to your point about being able to play different styles, I think for me, the biggest takeaway, especially listening to some of the players talk about Slot, because I don't think you're going to get a true story from the media. But I think if you listen to the Liverpool players talk about Slot, every single one of them seems to echo the fact that he can get his messages across extremely clearly, that he has an incredible attention to detail, and that he shows like a level of effort that's almost above and beyond what the players themselves are putting in, where I think Slot actually said it himself, where he can't expect his players to give 100% if he and his staff are not giving 100%. So for me, that's where I'm looking for the messaging about this team and what's so successful. I'm listening to the players because they're the ones that are dealing with Slot one-on-one every day. And I don't really give a shit what the media says. I care about what they say and how that's translated onto the pitch. And so far, so good in that regard, because he seems to just be an excellent communicator. And that seems to be one of the things that Liverpool was looking for as like a primary thing. So, yeah, that's where I'm impressed for now.
Yeah, I think everything that they've done has been impressive. And, Kev actually talks there about what the players are saying and, disregard the media and disregard pundits. And I'm right behind you on that point, by the way. It's just hard to avoid them at all times because they're fucking everywhere. But, Kev, Ashley makes the point about what players are saying and the kind of vibe coming out of the club. And like you look at this, like just going back recently, I think it was maybe over the weekend or maybe yesterday, the day before, there was this kind of round table sort of discussion with Salah, Robertson and Alisson. And you can see how he is the air and they're talking about different things. And when it comes to Slot, they've nothing but good things to say. And it would have been, like Kev, don't get me wrong, they're not going to come out and say, he's a bit of a prick, to be honest with you. But it would have been easy for them to say, look, it's different. We're learning new things and hopefully we can do this. But it wasn't, Kev. It was, he's so good tactically. He's so straight. He thinks about it so much. They were actually delving into what he does rather than giving a vanilla answer that, I'm not mad about the fella, but I give a kind of positive here as a kind of a sound bit. And that's impressive as well, Kev. Like, it all just, and I'm not saying everything's rosy in the garden, win every game, but it's such a good footing to start on. And getting
Massively
through those
so.
7 games in that sort of way, while you have players talking about this and managers coming out after games going, yeah, we done this because we knew they'd do this, and people are going, what? Like, he doesn't seem to care. He just does his thing.
There was a bit in one of his post-match press conferences where he said, he was actually asked about, do you think you're giving away a bit too much? And he turns around and says, people who know the game can already see this stuff. Other managers see what I'm telling you. It's not a secret. He basically turned around to the journalists and said, anyone with an ounce of brains and a few years worth of experience watching football can see this stuff. And he's right. He's not trying to rewrite the script. He's literally telling you what your eyes are seeing without a filter. And it's beautiful. It's brilliant. Love it. That round table is a really dangerous format for a manager because you don't know what's going to come out. It's three people sat around the table with the presenter watching highlights of their glory days, and it's very easy for a comment to slip and it to be missed in production and picked up on social media and do the rounds with the complete wrong interpretation. But
that's what I mean.
doesn't
That's what I mean by vanilla comment, because you make a vanilla comment and all of a sudden it's like, look, them two were positive and he wasn't.
Salah's leaving.
Salah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
and above all players to have up there as well, it's like we're not certain on Ali's future, we're not certain on Robbo's future, and we're definitely not certain on Mo's future.
Yeah.
But all three of them were, I wouldn't say waxing lyrical about the guy, but they were intrigued about how the season is going. It's a different way of learning. And someone made a comment earlier on, I think it was probably a bit of a tongue-in-cheek comment about Klopp. Maybe Klopp was the problem at the end. It's like, no. But the difference is a different voice and a different set of coaches and a different way of playing is not always a bad thing. And that's all this is. It's the same group, Bar Chiesa, that Klopp had. It's just a different voice and a different outlook. And someone else sees different things. And he's learning on the job too. This next run of fixtures, this next few months for Arne Slot is going to be so difficult because his family are still living in Holland. He gets to go home during the international breaks. This is going to be the first Christmas, arguably, I'd imagine, for him, probably since his playing days.
Yeah, this is a 4-month run now.
Yeah, this is going to be the first time, I think, since his playing days that he's going to be away from his family. He'll have always played in a league with a winter break. So his time away from his family is going to be tough. So combine that with he's still learning the job. He's learning the league. He's learning about the opponents that he's facing week in, week out. And what the pressures of being a Liverpool manager and the expectation of being a Liverpool manager is absolutely no different to being a manager at Real Madrid or Barcelona or Bayern Munich or Juventus. In any of these clubs, you're expected to win. Week in, week out, that's the minimum requirement. Anything less than that, something's gone disastrously wrong, and there's a huge inquest into it, started usually by us 10 minutes after a game. So, and that doesn't stop until the first whistle of the next game. So he's learning about all of this as well. What's impressed me the most about him is his ability to switch, to spot something in the first half, change it in the second half, and have it be so effective. It just goes to show what Ashley was saying, the directions that he's giving the players in a 5-minute halftime talk is so clear and concise that he can change so many things within a game. It's phenomenal. And I read something, was actually on Blue Sky the other day. I was reading something and it was a comment from an interview. It was an excerpt from an interview done with a Feyenoord fan. And he was asked about how he sees Liverpool now as compared to what Slot was like when he arrived at Feyenoord. He said they're very similar. You're not seeing the pure Slot ball yet, but he said you're starting to see the evolution of it in the way that we're building out from the back and how we've changed to bring in the fullbacks to a different position. All of this stuff is going to improve. He's like, this is only the start. He was literally turning around at the end of it going, wait until you see this stuff for real. It's like the only thing he did say is like probably needs to add a couple of different types of player, but that's something that will come in time.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, so far he's done everything that you could ask of anyone, but it's only going to get tougher from here because the pressure is going to come now, especially from the media, who, when things are quiet and things are slow and they need a story, link Liverpool to something and throw in a quote, and there you go, 3 days worth of banners on TalkSports, or TalkSport or Sky Sports or wherever. But the pressure is going to come, and he's got to handle that as well. We got to see how he handles that.
Yeah,
This is all,
and
this is all different.
yeah, 100%. Tom Boland says, "What is this Blue Sky you speak of?" Blue Sky is an app which is owned by the guy that owned Twitter. I think he
Yeah, he set
sold
up
it. He
Twitter.
sold. He sold Twitter to Elon Musk, and now he's basically set up another Twitter, but it's called Blue Sky,
Yeah.
and it's much more chilled out than Twitter. Um, you go and check it out. Just download Blue Sky. You make up a handle, and away you go. That's basically it. Actually, just looking forward now, right? We go into another kind of, if you want to kind of, I'm liking that we're taking this in blocks of games. I'm a fan of it. I hear all this all the time, and loads of players say it, managers say it, the next game is the most important. Correct, but if you go back to really really top managers and clubs at their pinnacle, and I hasten to say Ferguson was great at this. He'd look and he'd say, right, Ronaldo or Rooney or somebody, or Giggs as well, who's done it a lot. You're not playing these 3 games in this little block here. You're not playing. You go out and take a week off, come back, and you'll be ready to go for the next block and stuff like that. And you do have to look a bit forward, right? And just looking at what Liverpool have coming up in the next 7, it's Southampton away, Madrid at home, City at home, Newcastle away, Everton away, Girona away, Fulham at home. That'll bring us up to around the 14th of December, and then we have a League Cup game, and then we get properly into the December Christmas stuff. But actually, the last set of 7 games was like, we'll see what they're made of. They might fall away. They might have a couple of defeats in there, and we haven't. We're going into this 7, which I think is equally as difficult as the last 7, if not more difficult, because of, the clubs we're playing away from home, different situations. What way do Liverpool need to approach this? Because I genuinely think Liverpool are just cruising along here, and heads are falling off all over the place everywhere else, and Liverpool just seem to be going, this is grand, isn't it? And we just keep playing football, and we majority of the time win games. But like Kev said, the media are going to get on top of this. The media don't like Liverpool, right? They don't want Liverpool to win. I have, my theory on that from years gone by. But what way should we approach it, actually? Should the club and the players and the manager just be going, same again? We might lose one, but just same again. But they've used the defeat that Nottingham Forest to absolutely bash themselves with over the last 7, 8, 9. I think they've won 9 and drawn 1 of their 10 games since that game. Is it just the same? Just keep going, lads. Just keep going. We're good. And if we've issues, we'll sort them.
I think so. I mean, I don't see why they would deviate from the plan. I think the nice thing about Slot, especially as a new manager, is that he, unlike Klopp, who I think it was a very emotional man and used the emotion of certain games often to his advantage, but sometimes to his disadvantage. I think with Slot, he comes in sort of with a neutral perspective, and I don't see him, at least so far, getting caught up in like rivalries or things like that. And I think there's a few specific games coming up, whether it's Madrid, whether it's City, whether it's Everton, coming up where like those for Klopp would have been looked at as very emotional games. And I think the best thing that Slot can do is to take the emotion out of it, the way that he did for the Man United game, where it was just business. And he goes in, he has his tactical plan, he puts it into place. He ruthlessly rotates when he feels like he needs to rotate. He pulls players when he feels like he needs to pull players. He uses his fitness team to like carefully manage players in the red zone. Like, for example, with Robertson, like pulling him for the last couple of games and using Simicast, I think we probably look back on that as like a bold move. I certainly didn't think that was going to happen, but I think that if he can use those kind of key rotations throughout the team that he can pull off, whether it's Jones coming in and taking some time off of Szoboszlai, whether it is Robbo and Simicast rotating, whether it's Gakpo and Diaz continuing to rotate, using those strategically as he basically the same way he has over the last couple of games. Those are the things I want to see. I just want to see him be smart. I don't want him to get caught up in the narrative, because there's a couple games that are coming up that are going to be very narrative heavy, whether it's Madrid and all the noise about Trent, and you better believe the media is going to come like ready to play. for those. And same thing with City. It's going to be, is this a title decider? Is this the end of Pep? Is this,
Yeah.
the end of City? So there's
The
going to be
last
so much
derby
noise.
at Goodison, that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's so much external noise. So what I want to see is Slot just shut that out and just do the business as usual thing, because it's working for him so far.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of vibe I get off them. I think him in particular seems to have just taken this defeat to Forest and went, I am fucking disgusted over that. And it's about 3 months ago now, and he's still disgusted over it, and he keeps referencing it. And I think someone in the chat said earlier there, I think he's threatening the players. Like, if you play like you played against Forest again, listen, you're going to feel me rats, sort of thing. But Matt, they are a difficult 7 games. The Girona one thrown in there, if you beat Madrid, you're probably going, yeah, Girona. We go away there and see what we can do, because I think we've Lille and whatever in the new year. But do we just go with the flow here, Matt? That's what I'm trying to get. Like, Ashley's right. Same again. Don't get clever. Keep learning. Keep playing your game. And is it a time for us to just trust it? Because I think we still are on the edge. Like, what way do we actually do shit at times? But we've already spoken about the variety of things we actually do to win games. Do we just keep going with the flow here, Matt? Because I think that's what could see a home in all this. If you just go with the flow and just go, listen, we're not going to get too high and we're not going to get too low, because everyone else is doing that and it's not working. We'll just continue on our way, and we might play those, I think it's 5 league games. You might play those 5 league games before the League Cup, and you might win 3, draw 1 and lose 1, and you go, yeah, 10 out of 15, not bad. Is that what we do? Or does the pressure come on, and do they try to be a bit clever?
It depends if you're talking about like Klopp and the players or us as fans, because I think it's going to be pretty hard, because looking at that schedule, Southampton, you can't be losing that game. You just can't be. Like, I know there's no givens coming from a guy that figures we're going to get 114 points every year, so every game is a given, but we should be we're top of the table, they're bottom of the table. That game should take care of itself. I expect to see like Curtis Jones play that game. I would expect to see Szoboszlai play that game. McAllister not to. Not only because of the travel, because of his international duty, but also because he's on that yellow card. Yeah, and we cannot have him.
Canate the same.
So I think Alexis McAllister gets a full rest against Southampton. I don't think you risk him at all. If that means you kind of have to remove things around and play with 4, attackers towards the end of the game to get one of your midfielders off, that's fine. It's that next run of 4 games in there that's the money right there. Arne Slot doesn't, but we as Liverpool fans and the players on the team, we have some history with Real Madrid. So there's going to be some spice to that game. It's not a must-win for us. It's probably a must-win for them, especially if they want to qualify automatically in the top 8 of the Champions League. So it's a game that, you could see us rotate in, and that might be something that Klopp might do. But I don't want that. I want us to absolutely put the boot on the throat of Real Madrid, because they're missing a few, they're missing a few players. They're not in the absolute best of form right now. I would love for us to just absolutely stomp them in. And then City is City, obviously, and it's going to be, the buildup around that is going to be nauseatingly, repetitious. But for as far to the one extreme, I think we are going to go as fan base and content creators and the media and everything like that. I get the strangest feeling that Arne Slot and his cadre of bald Dutchmen that are helping coach this team are going to be the exact opposite. I get the strangest feeling that we're going to take us all by surprise in the first 10, 15 minutes of games. We're going to get some, lineup decisions that come out, and then when those lineups start leaking an hour and 20 minutes before the match kicks off, people going, whoa, I didn't expect that. And we just kind of have to take it in stride. This is the best. It's getting the best time of the season. No more dumb internationals for like another 4 months at least, and we can just get down into just constant Liverpool. So I'm not going to be level-headed about it. I'm going to absolutely lose the plot, Gav. But I fully expect that Arne and the Dutch boys are going to have the players just ticking over nicely.
Yeah. Kev, somebody in the chat said, Jesus, Gav nearly said trust the process. I didn't even come close to saying trust the process. Don't be lying to yourself. And your name escapes me now, but it was Red Steve. It had to be Red Steve. It was Red Steve. Of course, it was. But Kev, you know, like we look when we look at what's coming up, you know, and I think actually Matt have covered it well in how we. You know, how we should look to go forward, how we should look to just continue on the vein we're on. And if it serves us well and we can continue to improve, great. If there's a hiccup here or there, which I think you mentioned that towards the start of the show, you know, little roadblocks and different things here and there, fine. Just you have to deal with them. And that's how you win things. When you get that bit of adversity, you just go, listen, this is what we'll do and we'll be fine. But Kev, one thing that's kind of stuck with me is we're going into this and we're possibly looking at adding Chiesa into this squad properly. Yeah. We're looking at adding Harvey Elliott into this squad properly. Yeah. You're looking at Bradley, who come on and played really well against Villa, but had a little bit of a niggle. He scored tonight, I think. For Northern Ireland. I think he's the captain. I think he might be the leader of the whole of Northern Ireland at this stage. He's doing that well. And it's not like we're down this player, we're down that player, and we're going to these 7. We're actually up in numbers from the time we started the previous 7 games. So can Liverpool use that as a positive? 2 more really, really good additions into the squad that can help us navigate this. We say 7, but it's actually about 12 games, Kev, when you actually look at it when it goes just beyond Christmas. Because there's Southampton, there's Spurs, there's Leicester, and there's 1 or 2 more then. That brings you into the new year and probably the FA Cup third round. But that has to be seen as a positive as well. It's more people from to work with, more ways to rotate them and keep them as fresh as he can, you know, for the second half of the season.
Massively important. Look, I think you'll look at this as the first block of 4 games. Get to the next round of the League Cup and see what you've got available to you. Make as many changes as you possibly can to win the game for the League Cup, the next round of the League Cup, and then reassess where you are again. I mean, Andy Robertson scored tonight for Scotland as well, first goal in 5 years.
Stephen G mentioned it there, yeah.
He was running on fumes by the end of it. But Arne Slot would have known that Scotland were playing to get into a playoff tonight. So odds are Andy Robertson is going to play both of these games for Scotland. So he had the foresight to give him a break when he could. And he trusts Costas to be able to come in and do a job and allow Robertson to rest because he knew Scotland couldn't rest him. We have a few players in that boat. I mean, Chiesa, I think, is going to be huge. We've got to get him available because the ability to have him come in to help rotate around the front 4. At the moment, the front 4 is any 3 from 4. And one of those is going to come off the bench.
And Jota shouldn't be far off either, should he?
Jota's probably a couple of weeks after we come back. Maybe a week to 10 days after we come back.
Like he hasn't snuck off to Portugal or that, has he? We aren't watching that.
No. He's stuck in his room playing EFC, trying to get into the elite division.
Okay.
I have it on good authority. But I wouldn't be a bit surprised if he turns around to Virgil and says, you know what, you've finished up. Ronald Koeman has sent you to go and find the Red Bull Bulls at his old house and have another week off. We'll see you from Madrid. I'd take him to Southampton, wouldn't involve him in the Southampton game at all.
But you probably won't involve Kanate in that game.
I wouldn't. There's no need. If you can't go to Southampton, with all due respect to Southampton.
And put Gomez and Kwanzaa.
Yeah, play Gomez and Kwanzaa with Costas and Trent. If you can't go there and get 3 points, you've no business challenging for a league title. You just don't. So you have to take your chances when the windows are open to give a player like Virgil, who you're going to need throughout the rest of the season, take the opportunities where you can to give him a proper rest. He's not a spring chicken anymore. And the Dutch are doing it the right way by letting him come away from a meaningless dead rubber because they know that they're going to need him at the back end of the season. So we've got to kind of play ball as well in a way. We can't turn around as a club, and players can't turn around as players and say, look, we're playing too much football. And by the way, Virgil, you're playing 55, 60 games in this season. We just can't do that. And we don't have to. That's the whole point. Joe Gomez came on and done a fantastic job when he came on the other night. He's an experienced member of this squad. Gerald Kwanzaa is the future of this squad. There is absolutely no reason why these two can't go and play as a centre-back pairing against Southampton away. None. All right?
Yeah.
And I think you bring Virgil back in for the Madrid game. I think you go all tilt for the Madrid game because it's Madrid. And Slot will want that one under his belt. He'll want the confidence that a win against Madrid can bring to carry that on into the Christmas window as well. And he'll look then to get through Man City, see what happens there. Look, Man City are well capable of coming to Anfield and getting a result, as we know. We're also well capable of taking a point or beating them. All right? That game can go either way. We know that. But he'll look to try to get to the next round of the League Cup fixtures and then see where we are, squad-wise, fitness-wise, and go again. But he's going to have to use the whole squad. I don't see players when, Szoboszlai is playing, he's dropped this. I don't see it as dropping players. I don't see a 1 to 11. That's just starting.
No, I don't think it's dropping either.
I think, and that's a media narrative now that Luis Diaz was dropped today, or Alexis McAllister was dropped. No, he wasn't.
No, because you see, the thing is, if you're dropping a player, you usually drop him, and then he probably sees 2 or 3 games where he doesn't play. But to be honest with you, I think they've learned from Szoboszlai from last year. And I think they're trying to ease them off here before they get into the madness of what is mid-December to mid-January. I genuinely think that's what it is. And I don't ever look as a player being dropped. I just go, this fella's playing, and you have to, and it's just a trust thing. I trust them all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't go what you're saying. I wouldn't be taking out Van Dijk and Konate. I'd be taking out Konate. I would start Van Dijk, and then I would say to myself after an hour, we're 4-0 up here. He hasn't had much to fucking do. Throw Joe Gomez or which other of the centre halves didn't start. Throw him on and give him 30-35 minutes. And I just think that gives, Van Dijk has a week off now. You know what I mean? He's had a week off, realistically. And then he comes in and he does 55, 60 against Southampton, and that's just keeping him ticking over, and he's ready to rock for Madrid and City. But it's just, I think it's an intriguing set of games. They're like Ashley said, narrative based. Real Madrid, narrative based. Southampton, bottom of the league, 2:00 on a Sunday. Will they slip up here? Because they'd love nothing more than us to slip up there. But you have to go and win your games. You look at Real Madrid, you look at Man City, and then for me, a Newcastle side who feel like, I know they beat Arsenal, didn't they, a couple of weeks ago, but they still feel like a side that probably need to win 2 or 3 games on the bounce, where people go, right, Newcastle are up and running here properly, and they look to use Liverpool as that, along with the fact that with 10 men we done them last year at St James's. You've got the last derby at Goodison, which that's another one with narrative based all over it. You've got Fulham at home, which was a madness of a game last season, and then you go back to Southampton for a League Cup game.
The only thing I wanted to say, I'm just looking at the table here, right? And from Manchester United in 13th to Chelsea in 3rd is 4 points.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter really who you play at the minute. Every side is a much of a muchness. Every side is capable of beating everybody else. Yeah. It's just that we've won that many more games. We're that much harder to beat that we've been able to pull away. But Fulham are sat in 7th, Villa 9th, Manchester United 13th. But even all the way down, like West Ham on 12 points are on 14th. Yeah. You know what I mean? This league at the minute is there to be won for a side who's capable of putting a run together and creating distance. Because there are definitely sides in and around that top 6, 7 that their heads are going to drop if a side can put a run together and pull away. That side being us.
Yeah, well, hopefully. Before we finish up, I did want to get what you think Liverpool can achieve this season. It's like I said earlier, and Matt's kind of echoed that you go into every season thinking you can win everything and stuff like that. But I was thinking about this earlier, and I was thinking, what is a good season for Liverpool? That's what I was thinking earlier. And then I was thinking, what can they achieve? So they're probably 2 separate questions. Like, a great season for Liverpool is winning the league. But I'll tell you what I think first, and then you can have a go. I think Liverpool finishing in the top 4 positions is a really good season for Liverpool. And now I know Jono's going to fucking dive down me throat in the chat over that, but when you factor all the things in, right, like City, Arsenal, I'm not saying they've better squads than us. They've been not even together longer than us. It's just they have a way longer than us. You know, they have a way of doing things longer than we do. And in fairness to them, you know, I think Arsenal put up 89 points last season. City put up 91 and win it. And they feel like they're ahead of what we expect to be because of the changes and the big change we've had. And I think it's huge to get top 4 this season because, like you said, there's 4 points between about 8 teams there. And it feels like there's teams coming back. You know, I think Chelsea are coming back. United have to be seen. We don't know what's going to go on with Amorim, but they can't get any worse. And if they get better, they're only 4 points off third place. So, you know, that's where the league is. You look at Villa, who most of the time get the results that will push them towards a Champions League spot. Spurs are mad, so I don't even know what to say on them. But when you look at it, you've probably got City and Arsenal nailed on for top 4. You've got a Chelsea that could do it. Villa could do it. You know, and us. And when you think about it, getting top 4 is I think it's a good season. I really do think it's a good season. Even from this position now, if you not tell us like, look, you got 4th. I'm saying overall, it's a good season to go and force one under Slot. He gets to assess his squad properly over the season. He gets to implement some of the stuff he wants to do, and you look to push on. That's just the way life is. But what can Liverpool achieve? I'm going to say it now, Liverpool can win the title. And I'm under no illusions that Liverpool can win the title. Because while people will say, you know, there's only 4 points to third, that is what's telling me you can win the title. Because I don't think there's anything in this league to be afraid of. Nothing in this league to be afraid of. Genuinely. Right? And I think that came to me when Rodri gets injured. I think that was magnified when Arsenal had a couple of injuries, and it's like, it was madness watching what was going on with them. Like, not so much on the pitch, but off the pitch, it was just like, what is going on here? I genuinely think Liverpool can win the title. I hope Liverpool win the title. And can they achieve it? Yes. I think the League Cup, whatever will be. I've no problem if we just throw out teams in the FA Cup and see where we go. I think we're in a brilliant position in the Champions League. And if we turn into the new year and we have a Champions League and a league to go for, this squad can manage it. This squad can genuinely manage it. No problem. They have the numbers there to do it. So I think if we get to the end of the season and we go, look, we finished top 4, we've consolidated in the top 4, whatever we're going to do in the summer, the manager, and the contract stuff is over there as well, obviously. But I genuinely think, and I hope the players are looking at this going, lads, none of these are any great shakes. None of these are any great shakes. And we're just going along here and we're doing our bits and we're steadily getting better and we've more to go and we've dealt with some injuries and we've dealt with a horrible defeat at home. I think Liverpool can win it. I'm not going to come out and say Liverpool are 100% winning, but they've a massive chance to win this title. 11 games in, I don't care. They've a massive chance to win it. Matt, what's a good season? What can they achieve?
Well, first off, I have to disagree with you, Gav. I don't like doing it. We like to be amicable on this channel, but I do think there's one thing to fear in this league, and that's Liverpool Football Club, because we are a serious. We are a serious. Yeah, see what I did there? It's the old switcheroo on it. But you're right. There's no other team I don't think is putting the shits up Liverpool. But I think everybody looks at us now and goes, "Ooh, I don't like that." I mean, obviously, I think we're going to win everything until we can't win everything. But for me, I'm happy with any trophy because there's just nothing quite like the day that you win a trophy on. The League Cup, the FA Cup, they're fine. They're great. You know, I really enjoyed last season winning the League Cup. It was a really fun day.
I had a fantastic day that day, actually.
Yeah, I know. You phoned into our post-match show. It was absolutely grand.
I was very drunk at the time.
As was I. I was drinking champagne after that. It was brilliant. But those are the moments that you want to live for as a fan of any sports teams. And only one team gets to, in most sports, most North American sports, there's only one trophy. So only one team's fan base gets that day every season. So in football, there's 4. So you get multiple kicks at the can of different things to win. Obviously, you want to win them all, but if you come away with 1 out of 4, that's still pretty friggin' good at the end of the day, because how many other fan bases, and I know we're Liverpool and we're bigger than them, but blah, 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 but at the same time, there's 4 people just like us that are talking about, I don't know, Brentford, that would kill for a League Cup. Tottenham, Newcastle would die to have that day where they get to see their players standing up there on some silly plinth lifting up a goofy 3-handled trophy. So any trophy at the start of the season, I really would have been happy with. A run in the League Cup, win the League Cup again, defend our title, absolutely fantastic. But where we are now, and you start seeing the statistics like no team with a lead this big at this point in the season has not gone on to win it, and I'm opening up the door into delusion land, and I'm welcoming all Reds. Come on in, because something's happening, Gav. It feels there's good mojo going around. We've got momentum. Things feel good. I felt this way a couple of seasons ago when we were pushing for 4, trophies at a time and came up short in the 2 important ones. But it was still a memorable, momentous season. So there's something happening here. I think we're winning the league. Who knows what's going to happen in the Champions League, because I don't really know how that's going to play out. Could end up with Real Madrid finishing 16th, and we have to play them.
Yeah, I think at one stage, I think we just put a load of names in a hat, and then we just pull the name out and they go, right, you're through to the next round. They do shit like that, or they do a spot the ball or something. I don't know what they do. The Champions League is mental. But listen, I think I'm broadly with you that something may be happening here. I know it's 11 games in, but from what I see, I think we've had issues with injuries and we've dealt with them at different times. And unless you have a catastrophic injury problem, somewhere, I just feel like we're learning and we're improving and we're pushing ourselves forward, where other teams just seem to be scrambling to get back to where they were. It's a bit of a weird feeling, but I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm aboard. Send on the ticket details and I'll send you all my money. Ashley, good season. What is it? But what can Liverpool achieve?
I think they can achieve whatever they want to at this point. I've said it before. I think, but
here we go.
What they've done.
Drunk on Monster Munch. Here we go.
No, I think what they've done is they've built a foundation for them to springboard to wherever they want to go, and I think I want to be in the conversation for all of the trophies. I want to be in the conversation until the very end of the season. I love having there be jeopardy until the end of the season. I mean, I would also love if we just run away with the league and everything's over, kind of like when we last won it. But I think we've set ourselves up for success here, and so much of winning trophies is kind of about what is happening around you as much as it is what's happening to your club itself. And I do think there's openings here. We're seeing teams in the Premier League that are maybe not at their 100% best. We're seeing some teams that are showing injuries or fatigue or just a variety of different things happening that have meant that we are excelling. And I think seizing that opportunity is what I'm hoping this team does. I mean, I don't think that we need to put limits on ourselves. Kind of the way that Mo Salah was saying, I don't think we need to look at ourselves as underdogs. This is a team full of leaders, full of, senior players who I don't know where they're going to be next year. I don't know if they view this as their last hurrah. I don't know if this is their swan song. And if it happens to be, and I really hope it isn't, but I want them to go out with a bang. So if that means winning the league, abso-fucking-lutely. If that means winning the Champions League, abso-fucking-lutely. Sign me up for all of the league. Sign me up for all the trophies. Because, I mean, I'm not trying to be deluded. If we don't win 3 out of the 4, I'll be fine. Like, winning 1 trophy is nothing to be, we dismiss it. And I don't think that's fair. I think that, like Matt says, any trophy is something that we should be celebrating. And there are teams out there that would absolutely kill to get their hands on even the league trophy that we're like, oh, just play our youngsters. Like, that's a big deal. And I think that from where I'm sitting, I hope that we achieve more than that. But if that's all we achieve, I'll be perfectly happy with that. And I think that, probably in the summer I would have said top 4, but at this point I think that we have it in us to go further than that. So, screw top 4, let's go for the big cup, the big shiny thing.
Yeah, I'd like to disagree. I'd like to challenge you, like Matt challenge me, unprovoked attack, but I can't. And to be fair, because I do agree with you. James Knight says we're going to be 20 points clear in February, and World War III will kick off. Yes, that is what's going to happen. Definitely, that is what happens. Antwango says, I think it was Antwango says, Ashley's swearing all the time. We're completely behind this. It's our fault. We are the ones that make her do this. But listen, if she can do what she fucking likes, let's be fair. Someone else asked, did she taste Monster Munch? Did she taste Monster Munch? She thought she was ordering a 6-pack, and 40 packets arrived in a massive box. So yes is the answer to that question. Look at this. Look at the box of crisps. It's fantastic. Just ordering all around the cap. It's amazing to see here. Monster Munch hitting the microphone. It's fantastic. Kev.
Yes, mate.
Good season. What can they achieve?
If we win our next 2 league games, we'll win the league. It's that simple.
Oh.
We beat Man City.
You're writing off Arsenal.
With Arsenal gone, I'm writing off Arsenal and Chelsea now. All right,
Okay.
We're 9 points ahead of them, plus goal difference. There isn't a 4-game switch. They're not good enough to get a 4-game switch on us. All right, they're just not. And for me, you beat Southampton, you beat City. That's an 8-point gap. Is it an 8-point gap with City then?
If they win at the weekend, so do we.
If they win at the weekend, so do we. That's an 8-point gap plus goal difference. That's 3 games. City are capable of doing something, but you're looking at a Manchester City who have been through the mill for the last 4 years, winning titles. And they've had to grind out result after result after result this season. They're not the Man City of 2 years ago. They're not the same Man City that Klopp went toe-to-toe with for 100 points. They're not that side. They're still a top-quality side, don't get me wrong. They'll beat more sides in this league. They'll put up a big points total this season. But if we pick up 6 points from our next 2 games, I don't see how we're going to get caught. The other side of it is, I think we definitely need to do something in January. 100%. We have to bring in at least one player in January to supplement this squad, to give us an extra push in to the second half of the season so that we don't run out of legs. But I think we'll have cup runs. Cups are lotteries. It all depends on the draw and where you are in the league, as to what you can put out on a Wednesday night against whoever in the league, in the FA Cup 5th round or 4th round or whatever. But Europe is Europe. It's down to the look of the draw in an awful lot of times. Sometimes you need the look of the draw to go for you, to give you a pathway through to a nice semi-final or something.
Yeah.
But ultimately it's all about the league. I'll be absolutely disgusted if we finish outside of the top 2 from here.
Okay.
From this position, I think it will be an abject collapse to finish outside of the top 2 from here.
Listen, I think that's a huge show from you, but I completely see where you're coming from, because I think there's a huge whiff of 2019-20 of this.
Yeah. I think the momentum is huge.
Yeah, I think City like to chase. They like to chase and they like to be chased. They're comfortable in other situations. And I think they were comfortable in those situations against Arsenal, right? But the one season Liverpool went out and piled it on them, they didn't want to know. They didn't want to know. Now, I don't know whether that's the Klopp effect and Guardiola going, lads, he's going to have them up the wall every single game. There's just not a hope here. I don't know. But just the way they're playing, the energy they have, I think if you put 8 points on them, goal difference is 9, they'd have to win. They'd have to win 3 more games than us, plus another one on top of that, to get by us. I wouldn't write off Arsenal. I think you have to. The reason I say you have to from this stage is they're on 19 points with a goal difference of 6, plus 6, and they're not used to being in title runs. That squad isn't used to it. Yeah,
he's built.
But the thing is, I think maybe the pressure just keeps piling on them from if they're 9, 10, 11 behind, whatever it is. One more mistake from them and they're done. Yeah, in fairness, I think Paul Merson made that point on Sky a couple of weeks ago, and it's not like me to tell you Paul Merson spoke sense, but he did turn around and said Arsenal need to make that 6 points before it goes to 12.
That's
and I know that sounds
Marys and an Our Father.
Yeah, I know that sounds really obvious, but I know where he was coming from. If it stays at 9 for a couple of weeks, fine, but you have to make sure that 9 changes to a 6 rather than a 9 changes to an 11 or a 12. And I think he makes a fair point. I agree with you. I think if you put another player into that squad to supplement it, I think it's huge, especially if you're going to target the two big competitions, because you still will be in them in the new year, and you'll be in a really good position by the looks of it in both of them. I agree with you, but I like the way you just didn't give a bollocks what a good season was. You just went win the next 2 league games, we win the league, end of fucking story. Don't give a fuck about anything else.
That's what we have to. I mean, how else from this position? If you'd have asked me in August, and we all put out our things in August, I would have been top 4, a cup run, see where we end up, bed in the squad, bed in the style of play, and go next year. All right, that was my outlook in August. From here, looking at the table, looking at how we're playing, looking at how hard we are to beat, and how much the likes of Virgil and Kanate and the rest take it as an absolute offence that you got a shot off. I'm looking at this thinking, good luck beating us, 3 or 4 sides beating us this season. Good luck with that. I think they're just so nasty about it. I think there's an attitude about this Liverpool squad at the minute that takes real umbrage in conceding a goal.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that for a while.
Yeah, and I think, I know it sounds obvious, but let's see after these next 7 games. But if Liverpool come out the back of these 7, if Liverpool go into that League Cup quarter final and they've won, I think it might be 6 league games and one Champions League. No, it's 5 league games and 2 Champions League games. Yeah. And then if Liverpool were to go in there and Liverpool win 4 and draw 1 of those, even if that one is against City, you're kind of saying to yourself, now we're nearly halfway through. You know what I mean?
Now you're chalking them up as well, mate.
And it's touring over, and all teams will have the same kind of things going on over the Christmas, because there's just loads of fucking games, and you finish one game and 3 hours later you're starting another one, because that's how English football works. And I wouldn't change it, by the way. I'm completely and utterly against changing that. It's the most wonderful time of the year in all aspects, because Christmas is by far the best, and the fixture list at that time is by far the best. But look, we'll probably do this again before Southampton in the League Cup on the 18th of December, I think that is. We'll probably come and do that again, but I just wanted to get a feel of where we are. Of course, Liverpool are back at the weekend, and we will have post-match to that on Sunday. We'll also have our show on Sunday night, but we'll have a few bits throughout this week as well. We might do a little transfer show. I think we should do a transfer show. I think we should talk about links that are there, links that are completely and utterly made up, which are my favourite, and see where we go, because there's plenty of names floating around. Apparently someone lives next door to this fella Kirkes in Bournemouth now, and he's happening. It's all going on.
The best thing about the Kirkes one was somebody posted a link from a Hungarian newspaper, and it's all in Hungarian. But I clicked on the link, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll translate this. And it was like, blah, blah, blah. And you could tell that it was saying, as reported by, like, Anfield Watch on Twitter. And I was like, oh, for fuck's sakes, that's not a real story. It's some Hungarian newspaper guy filling inches.
Yeah. People are mentioning, City points deductions and stuff like that. City won't be getting any points deduction this season. No. Simple as that. Because what's going to happen is that ruling should come out before the start of February. Then they will appeal it. Then it will have to be done by the end of May. Because if they have to get this done by, in my opinion, actually the start of May, because if they are to be sanctioned and moved down divisions, you have to rejig the whole playoff system. The Championship and EFL.
I read something the other day that the judgment could be coming in December.
It may do.
They want to get it. They want to get it in, the judgments and the ruling, before the transfer window opens, in case City don't want to or are unable to contest it.
Yeah,
that they have an opportunity to get players out the door quick, because if players are going to want to leave, they want to try and do it before the January window.
The original timescale on it was September, all of September into October, or maybe the end of September, whatever it was, for the hearing, and then they were talking January/February. But then an appeal will come. But honestly, if they shouldn't be in this division, if they get charged and found guilty with what they're being charged with, which means they need to probably go down to League Two. And if they go down to League Two, you need to move an extra team in every division up, which means you need to either get rid of the playoffs, which they can't because teams are playing to get into them, or you basically play 2 playoff finals from each division and the 2 teams go up. You can do something like that, but every division will have to move its side up to allow City to go into League Two and go into their proper place in the football pyramid, in my opinion. But there we are. Yeah, we probably do a little transfer show during the week. That'll probably be Wednesday. We'll do a preview of Southampton Thursday or Friday. We'll be here on Sunday with 2 shows, and then we'll be back into madness of games and covering them all as we go along. Ashley, anything else before we go?
No, this show is proudly sponsored by Monster Munch.
Yep. And if you want to send us all, Tato, if you're out there, if you want to send us all boxes of Monster Munch, we will happily accept them. But we'll not eat them on the show because they stick to your teeth like concrete, which is probably the best bit.
Yeah, but anyways, otherwise, up the fucking Reds.
There you go. She's coasting again. She's off. See? I'll tell you, I have a feeling we're going to get a strongly worded email from parents. And relatives.
My parents are not allowed to watch this show.
Okay, right. Well, just in case they're watching it, on an incognito link somewhere, because that's how it can be done. If we do get an email, what do you want me to say? Do you want me to apologise? Say we'll try be better? No, just ignore them.
They'll
just
be
fucking
fine.
ignore them. Yeah, just tell them to fuck off. That's what I actually said to tell you. Anyway, Matt, anything else before we go?
Yeah, I would just like to say, let's see, if I just say Merry Christmas and Jingle Bells and Ho Ho Ho, and I've now made this a Christmas show. So it's as simple as that. To make any show a Christmas show, you just have to say 3 Christmassy things, and boom, nothing else had to deal with Christmas.
This is Matt's mental breakdown over Die Hard and the fact that it is one of the best Christmas movies of all time. And of course,
it's not a Christmas movie. It's not even the best Die Hard. It's not even the best Die Hard.
Nobody said it was the best Die Hard, but it is. It's the best Die Hard Christmas movie.
Well, that's 0 out of 0.
No, it's better than number 2. Let me see. But Scouser Pete did say this earlier, and I have the facility to bring these back up. And he said, "Don't start Matt about this. Die Hard is an Xmas movie. Home Alone, young delinquent grooming dementia-suffering pensioner to get money and favours." So there you go. If you want to go down that route, Home Alone is not a Christmas movie either. What is it about? Burglary. It's just a burgling film. That's all it is. It's all about burglary. But I'm so happy, and this is why. But this is why it's the most wonderful time of the year, because all I need to do is post a picture of Die Hard on my TV and go, the most wonderful time of the year, and Matt just goes, oh, radar pops up. Even when he had even if he'd have had the fucking hamster in the wheel internet he had 6 months ago, he would have went, no, I can smell it. I can actually smell it from 8,000 miles away. This prick is calling it. This prick is calling it. Stop doing that with your hands as if you're some sort of Italian. Why are you doing that?
I don't know why I did that.
So there you go. Anyway, Die Hard, if you enjoy it this Christmas as one of the greatest, enjoy it. Don't be minding what he's saying.
Watch Die Hard with a Vengeance. It's the best Die Hard Christmas movie.
No, Die Hard with a Vengeance is not a Christmas movie. It's set in New York.
It's almost as much of a Christmas movie as the first Die Hard.
No.
It's off by about...
No.
Ashley posted the list of how... Nah, this is going to go on for an hour.
No.
No, it's not.
All I do is watch the first 4 minutes of Die Hard.
That's the only Christmassy bits in the whole fucking show. It's the first 4 minutes.
No, it's not.
Look at the list.
25 minutes in, there's a ho 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 reference. The guy has a jumper on with ho 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 on it on 35 minutes. He's dead.
I said Merry Christmas. This wasn't a Christmas show. This is a
it can be
show.
if you want. Christmas can be any time you like. Listen, I will celebrate Christmas all year with you if you want. No problem. Just give me the chance to order insufficient amount of cans. What I'm saying is, right, if you look at it, it's completely a Christmas film. And your argument is, well, what's the meaning behind it all? Well, there's really good human meanings in there as well. I just think you're refusing to look at them. It's a bit like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's a bad parent. He forgets to buy a child a toy and they pretend it's a Christmas movie. It's not. It's an action movie. if you go by your feeling on it. It's an action movie where he just happens to be buying a Christmas present. No, it's bad parenting. He's just left his child high and dry at a very important time in his life. But according to you, and by your standing, this is your own argument. It's not a Christmas movie.
The spirit of Christmas. I'm concerned.
No, I do. I love the spirit of Christmas.
Your idea of Christmas.
What is more Christmas? What is more Christmas than a guy going into a building in his bare feet against 12 men while there's a Christmas party happening to save all those people? What says Christmas more than that? I don't know what does, to be fair. Anyway, Kev, anything else before we go?
Nah, I'm all good.
No?
I'm not getting dragged down this rabbit hole whatsoever. There is just no chance in it.
All I would say is that It's a Wonderful Life is in serious fucking danger this year if Matt gets elected to the Canadian Senate, or whatever they have over there, House of something. If he gets in, he's deciding that A Wonderful Life is fucking not a Christmas film, and he doesn't want to play it any time between November 1st and January 31st. That will be a new law in Canada, which will be fantastic as well. But in other news, they will get human-sized cans, which will be fantastic for the Canadian people.
The nitro cans are coming to Canada.
Are they?
No, but if you put me in charge, they will.
Why haven't they?
I don't know. Fucking idiots.
Well, like, honestly, why can't they send the can?
You'd be shocked at the cost of beer where I live. It's fucking outrageous.
Yeah, I won't visit, so haven't got the money. Sure, I'm spending all my money on fucking Monster Munch at this stage. Right, that has been the Talkin Kop. Me and Matt apologise for the last 8 to 9 minutes of this show, but look, that's how it rolls. We will be back during the week. We'll do a bit of transfer stuff here. If you want us to do anything else, leave it in the comments afterwards. Like, subscribe, comment. Don't forget our charities, which are always in there as well. Nothing on football prize for the moment. That will come later on in the week. Thanks to Ashley. Thanks to Matt. Thanks to Kev. Thanks to everyone in the chat. It's been an absolute pleasure. Have a great Christmas. Over and out.